G'day guys, what I thought I'd do today is revisit the $5 Miller table. I've got a video called the $5 Miller table. It was quite a while ago. So pretty much the $5 Miller table is a chopping board from Kmart, fairly thin one, it's probably about 5mm thick. That I cut down to fit into my 6-inch base of my high banker, the Gold Rat one there. Clamps down well with the clamp, don't need to make any mods there. And what I've also got is the extension on this thing and some VMAT. So today's little thing is about matting and how different mats capture gold and why they're capturing gold and why they're holding on to the gold and why they're losing gold. So with any type of matting like this, you can see right down the bottom there's some bubbles, and you probably want to use a brush or something like that, but you want to get rid of those bubbles, those little air bubbles. Now the angle on this is pretty damn important as well, because you want to be able to run your water fairly slow, but you want it to not be just skimming over the top, running fast, too much angle, and it's not a built up area, because what will end up happening, the water stuff gets caught, and if this stuff is higher than that water level, it's just going to wash down. So just over here I've got a bit of material. I've got a little spoonful like this. So what it is some black sand, some gold, some lighter sand. I'm just going to sort of spread that over the actual mat itself. Or here is a chopping board. Now you should be able to see the gold, and you should be able to see the black sand, and even though that a little bit of that black sand has moved, not a lot of it is really moving. So shit, I could do that. Go to the creek, just have to run a bit of board and I'll capture some gold. If I ran my material that slowly, I'm going to feed a spoonful at a time, I'm just not going to produce enough or be able to process enough material to get gold. What I'm going to do is increase the water. So I'm just going to stop videoing for a second, and I'll increase the water until that black sand starts moving a bit faster down that board, even though you can see it's starting to migrate down very slowly. It's just not quick enough for me at this time. I want to be able to get that to move a little bit faster, but at the same time hold that gold as much as I can up there. So give me a sec, I'll change this around a little bit with the water flow. We'll see what happens. Alright, so I've increased the water flow a bit, and you can see that material's going down a little bit quicker. Now, in doing that, what I've also done is started to get some gold migration, and yeah, I'm not sure if those specks were already there, but I did see a little bit of the gold starting to migrate down this board. Just going to give this a little tap because I do want it to move. And because I did start this with a low, very low volume of water, it's sort of now built up there. What I'll do, I'll get another little bit and throw it in, and hopefully by doing that some of this other stuff may tend to move. The other thing, gold, especially if it's been in a creek, river for a long time, it gets smooth and round, and it can very easily roll. Again, once it starts getting a little bit of momentum, it can start rolling down this board. As you can see, still a lot of black sand there. It is moving very slowly, but the water flow still isn't good enough. But if we look down here after the board, not really seeing any gold, which is sort of a good sign. So I don't think that's gold there. The actual V-rib, there might be a speck just there, but besides that, it's actually looking quite clear. I'm going to increase this water again and see if I can hold on to the gold and lose some more of that black sand. Alright, once again, water flow has increased. The gold is still staying up there. It's migrating down a little bit with the sand and the heavies, but when we look down here, and this is where it's probably going to be if it's going to drop off. Where's that little bit there? Let me get my finger there. I just need to see if that's gold or if it's just, no, it's just a yellow spot in the sluice. Down here where it's sort of important, I'm not, as I said, there may be a speck, but that's about it. What I've also got down the bottom here is a pan, so anything that does get through, I'm hoping is going to get captured in that pan. So I've got a little bit of black sand caught on that edge where the clamp, but you can see slowly most of that black sand is gone, like in the sense up here. There's a little bit of black sand staying there with the gold, but most of it is slowly going down. And this is a slow sort of process. We're talking, this is where I'm talking about, I'm cleaning up. I'm more cleaning up my cons, my very fine cons. I am starting to see a little bit of gold there. There's a few little bits. All those bits just on that side. But a lot of this stuff is getting cleaned up, which is a good sign. Because it's time to add, I want to actually put all this stuff in that's in this actual pan here. I don't want to dump it in, but it's looking as that's maybe what I'm going to have to do to get this stuff out, because there are quite a few other mats I want to try and show you. So let's see how we go. I'm just dumping this stuff in now. It probably hasn't gone into the area that I wanted, but it's alright. I can deal with that. I don't mind if it's dropped down a little bit less. You can see there's the gold that's there. What I'm going to try and do here is splash that out of the pan. And there's a couple more little bits. In doing that, I've sort of mucked up what's going on up here, but that's alright, it doesn't really matter. This is more just to show that, as you can see, I probably knocked a bit of that gold at that same time. I'm just going to get my spoon in here. Just like, you should be using a brush. I should have a brush, but I don't. Like if I was fair dinkum and I was going to clean this up and use this as a miller table, I'd be using a brush and I wouldn't be dumping it in like I am. This is more just to show that really anything with the right angle, with the right amount of flow, I didn't want to put dirt and things in, only because the reason behind not putting the dirt in, I want to keep this clear and I want you to be able to see the gold, the black sand and what's actually happening. Alright, I'm going to increase the water once again, so give me a sec and we'll see what happens next. Alright, so I've increased the water now to a spot where no gold is getting left in the first part, which I'm calling is, my $5 miller table. When we look on the V-rib, we're starting to see a bit of gold, a lot more just up here. Possibly, I'm not seeing it down there, I'm only seeing it here, and a lot of gold at the end of this mat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disturb it so that if I'm putting this spoon here and disturbing it like this, I'm going to stop it from being up here on this mat. You should be able to see that's the clamp holding on to a little bit of gold. Just going to keep running my spoon backwards and forwards because I want it to get to the V-mat. There's still a little bit here. And I'll do the same thing here with the clamp. Just move the spoon around, get it to wash down. Now, I can't see any more. There's a little bit of black sand there, so I'll just keep agitating it like this a little bit. And you can see there's quite a bit of gold in this V-mat. I'm probably running around 1400 gallons a minute. It's a 2,000 gallon now pump, and it's probably 3/4 of my ball valve that's just down there turned on. But because of the lifting and all that, obviously going to lose a bit of flow. My pan, I've got my riffles this way, and I think I can see. I thought I could see a little bit of gold there, maybe not. But I will have a look in there and investigate. But as you can see up here in the V-rib, I've caught probably most of the gold. I'll turn this off and let's just watch what happens. And I'll turn the water flow off and see what sort of migration happens. Right, to me it didn't seem to move much, but what it did show you is just how much gold is there and just how far. We can look at it now a bit closer. So you can see there's a bit right down there. We'll go to the end of the mat and we'll see if we can see anything. Not really, so about there, which is you know, a few inches off the bottom. But the majority of the gold is there. I'll just have a look, take this pan out and see what's happened. See if there's anything caught in here. There's a little bit of black sand. There is a little bit of lighter sand in here. And really I'd have to pan that out to see if there's gold. Let's have a look here. Just backwash this stuff. I think I'm seeing one tiny little speck. Yeah, one tiny little speck of gold there. Alright. So, V-rib. You've just lost one tiny little speck out of probably hundreds. Probably less than 1% gold loss. 100% right. But this is not running in a creek. This is to clean up. Alright? The only probably time I'd use something like this, because as I said, you're limiting the amount of material you can process. The more water you can run through your sluice, the more water you can run through your high banker, the more even that water flow is, getting that flow right, getting that angle right. That's the most important thing. You want to try and get the most out of your equipment. If you're happy processing a few buckets and running slowly, then you could probably use something like this. The only issue is I haven't really run any rocks. I haven't run anything else. It's just some black sand and some gold. And I think that's a lead shot just there. I'm going to throw in, and there's another lead shot just here. Just there. There's a lead shot just there. Hasn't even made it to the mat. And if we look there, that's a little bit of gold, and I reckon that's gold just there. In a little thin little groove. Let's have a look on this side. Yeah, a few more little bits there on the sides of the clamp. I'm going to remove this mat. I'm also going to remove this mat. I'm going to put two different mats in and we'll have a look at those. Alright, I've decided to keep that mat in. Water flow is the same as it was with when I had the gold migrate down here into the V-mat. Now, the only thing that has changed is I don't have the V-mat there. What I've got here is the Microcell Dream Mat. Now, hopefully you're going to be able to see those little cells. Only drama with this is when I got it, they didn't make a 6-inch at the time, and I had to get, and that's why it's short. I had to get the Gold Cube mat and cut it down, and my other sluice, for whatever reason that I got, was a little bit narrower, and it fitted well in that. It didn't fit well in this when I cut it, so mucked it up a little bit, but so there's a little bit of a gap on the edges. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the V-mat from before and going to hopefully get that gold washing down. You should start seeing some gold appearing in the cells. Going to try and do this as evenly as possible, but it's not the easiest thing to do when you're trying to feed or trying to clean out a mat, because I'm pretty much basically cleaning out that V-mat above and filming and seeing what's going on at the same time, making sure that my camera is in the right position. Alright, There we go. I'm sure the VMAT is all clear now. No gold is getting held up in my little homemade miller table. Bit of black sand and gold here at the edge like before, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. And I'm just going to use my spoon just to change the way the water's sitting there, just to get it to migrate down into the mat. Same with just before the clamp, like what happened before. Wanting that gold to get to the mat, I don't want the clamp to actually hold that gold. And then, if we look at the microcell, should be able to see those cells have caught some gold, and it has made it a long way down that mat, but it's just the way it is, I suppose. It's the way I fed it. I didn't feed it like I did with the other mat, but what I will do is film this section up the top, take the battery off, and see if there's any migration. I didn't see any migration, but you guys may have caught something. Alright, now let's have a look. Most of that gold is really getting held up even before it gets in. Like those cells, as the gold comes down, they swirl up and go into those little pockets. But just that little clamp, just that little break of that clamp is holding quite a bit of gold. Plus that rotation pushing up back against itself is holding the gold up high. Now I did say there was a little bit of migration. We'll go all the way down the mat. But you know, those pockets are fairly small, so what ends up happening is once they get filled, it goes into the next pocket and so on and so on. Especially if it's heavies, and as I said, this is a lot of this is very, very, very heavy black sand. I'd say it's most probably from Reedy Creek, and it is very fine gold, even though there are some nicer bits in there. The lead shot, as you can see, didn't get too far, which is a good sign because lead shot's round, has that tendency to roll and migrate. Before, and you'll see here again, the lead shot didn't get very far at all. Even though it came all the way down, it stopped pretty much nearly in the same place. A few still little bits of gold in that clamp. And the rest, yeah, in this mat. Alright. I'll do the same thing. I'll get the pan. We'll have a look what's in this pan. Could be more, could be less. We don't know. But we will see what's got through. That one little speck should be here because I didn't... let me just do this rather than looking at the pan itself. I mean, looking at the phone. Let me just pan it so that I can see. Now, I do believe that is that just there. Let's get, there we go. It's moving a little bit. Where'd it go? There was one little speck, I'm pretty sure. I may have seen two, but no, there it is. One little speck of gold. Possibly another one just over this way. So once again, that you could say that's probably worked just as well as the VMAT. As I said, my edges aren't cut right, and I've got big gaps, and gold could easily get through there. I'm going to change to one more mat or two. I've got two more mats to put in, but I'm going to change to one more now, and we'll see what happens there. I'm going to crank the water flat out. That's the only change I'll be making besides the mat change. Alright, so what I've done is increase the angle, and what I've got here, honestly I can't remember, but I do know Lucky Strike in Geelong sell this mat. I know it's an SE something or other. It's a multi sort of mat with different types of riffles. So there's sort of a larger V-rib at the start. These are sort of like a U shape. Then you have like a Hungarian, back to like a V, a few little ripples at a 45, a larger Hungarian. You can see I've already dropped the lead shot in. And then it just goes through, and this is like, this first part is a really deep V, and then this is a U shape, and then right at the end is just another Hungarian riffle. Now, what I did do was I tipped the contents of the pan in, so that's the little bits and pieces that you can sort of see. And then whatever else sort of got unjammed from maybe some of these clamps and bits and pieces. And obviously increasing the angle has made some other gold that was trapped move around. So I'm just going to get this mat, and I'll set this up down here while I get the gold out of the mat and get it to move down, so that you might start seeing it appear as we go along and see where it's actually getting caught. Obviously this is at the top of the mat that I'm filming at the moment, and then I'll work my way all the way down and see how far the gold's migrated. Now I don't think it's 2,000, but only because I'm lifting about 1.5 meters, plus running through some smaller little valves and bits and pieces like that ball valve and stuff. So even though the hose at the end coming in is just straight through. Now a lot of people run their high banker like that into the hopper. Alright, so am I seeing anything right down the bottom? Not really. Right, there is some stuff there, but I think it's just more heavies. I am seeing some gold down there. And what I'll do again is I'll just go up a little bit so you can see. And I'm going to turn the water off. I'm going to see if there's any migration. And once again, not really. I didn't really see any gold migrate down while I turned it off. Alright. So the first part of the mat, which is like probably a bit larger than a big V, has caught some fine gold. The next part, which is a deeper U shape, hasn't caught as much. Just before the Hungarian riffle, there is definitely some gold, and just after the Hungarian riffle with the V-mat, there's some more gold. These are just sort of smaller, like on a 45-degree little angled riffles. There's some gold there. You could see the lead shot. The next Hungarian and then V-rib behind it has got a few little specks. Also down here, where this is a deep V. This first part we're looking at here is the deep V. And then this is that larger sort of U shape. And that's the best way to describe it. It's like a U-shape riffle. We'll have a look at just in this end bit. Yeah, look, there's probably a few specks of gold there. We'll have a look down here in this pan. And we'll do the test again and have a look and see. And see if any gold's come out. And that's not gold. Just so you know, that's actually a rock. Gold loss. To me, because as I said, I did empty the contents of this. 0. So no gold loss. 2000 GPH with that mat. Ran fine. Just remember, yes, I am only running a little bit of black sand and a little bit of fine gold. But I'm not losing gold. Now, things that will change when you're running, say, a mat like this or any mat in the creek. You're hitting the high banker with your shovel. Your feed rate is all over the place. It's not consistent, really. I've tried to make some mods with mine where I have my high banker hopper with the punch plate all the way along the hopper to even out that flow of material coming through as you're shoveling in. And it also helps you increase the amount you can put through it. And these are all the things you've got to consider as well. It's not only, yep, I did this test at home and this worked beautiful and it worked perfectly. It's when you come along and you bash it, when you knock it, when the angle changes as it's sinking in, or for whatever reason you bump it, you hit it. All these things are going to affect how your mat is holding that gold and if it's going to lose anything. Putting a pan at the base like this sort of works, not really. I do have something on the cards, and when I actually get a bit of time that I can put it all together, I'm going to show you something that some people might go, shit, I might add that to my setup. I haven't seen anyone use anything like this before. It's something that I've sort of come up with, and I will put it in a video for future time. But for now, I won't say too much about it. It's not something I'm going to flog off and sell and whatever else. It's just something that, an idea I've got. I think it's going to work. I think it's going to be something very, very effective for fine gold loss. And let's see what happens. I'll try and put something together and get you a video out about this. One more mat to try, which is the mat that I use. The mat that I use out on the creek, and for very good reason. I'm going to increase the angle again, and let's see what happens next. Alright, last mat of the day. This is the Dream Mat. On the 6-inch, it's the Mini Cell Dream Mat that I'm using. Probably pretty hard to see, but once we get a bit of gold and coming down, should be able to start seeing something. Alright, back to the fun part. So I'm using that green mat now that I had before. I'll get this down here, and hopefully I can get the gold out of that other mat and get it, even though it's stopped the water a little bit, just trying to clean that other mat off, up a high, and hopefully I don't get too much of a surge now, but we'll see how we go. Right, pretty sure that's cleared off that mat. Not really seeing the gold too well, but what this mat will do, and we will have a look all the way down it and we'll see what's going on in all these cells, but this will actually hold on to those finer sands as well, and really the gold and the heavies will get locked in these cells. I'll turn the water off. I'll focus like I did before in a larger area just in case somewhere you see some migration. But here we go. Alright, I didn't really see any movement. I didn't really see any gold migration on any of these. Because that's one of the questions people ask. Stopping and starting. If your angle's not right, 100% stopping and starting, stuff's going to migrate. If you're running a hell of a lot of water and it's surging, stuff's going to migrate. But as you're seeing with all these mats running the right amount of water, running the right angle, nothing migrates when you stop. And the surging shouldn't really affect it too much. So let's have a look. So we have some gold in the cell and just above the cell. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Little bits of gold in that cell. Plus we have just there, you'll see the lead shot with a little bit of gold next to it. Nothing, a few little bits getting held up there. The next row of cells, not really seeing anything until we hit that second cell. A little bit of gold there. There's another lead shot. That's full of, the cells are getting held, full of those black sands. Next row down, a little bit more gold. A little bit more gold there. Next row, there's a little couple of specks there. We'll go to the next two cells. There's a little bit of gold, a little bit more gold, a little bit of gold there. There's a little bit of gold there. We're getting down here. There's still a little bit of gold got down this far. So a little bit more gold. Now you got to remember I'm running the biggest angle of all with this mat. There's a little bit of gold there. Maybe a little speck. We'll go all the way to the bottom. And the bottom, well, there's a little bit of gold. I reckon that's a little bit of gold. All the way right to the bottom. So there is a couple little specks all the way, but this is going to be where it's going to tell me what's happened. Now compared when you've seen before how much material I had in this pan with the other mats, there's very little. A lot more of that black sand has held up, but there are a couple little specks of gold. Couple little ones. I don't think that's gold there. That's just moving around. It's floating around a bit too much. These ones up here, yes. We'll get this to focus. Hate green pans. They don't show, like, I hate using these in the field. The green, it just doesn't work with my eyes, and it doesn't work. Like that bit there that's moving around, that's just a bit of, as you can see, rubbish. That there isn't, that's gold. God, it's hard to see, it's tiny. Alright, so a little bit got out. But I did increase, as I said, the high banker the most. And really it's a tiny little speck, it's not much. So overall, with all the mats, I haven't really lost a lot of gold. The gold hasn't migrated, but it's all about getting this angle right. Now 100% when I go out onto a creek, what I just tested now is going to change. Because I'm running mud, I'm running larger rocks, I'm running a lot of material and feeding it through. And it's about that process. Once it's getting processed and once it's going down that mat, what's actually dropping out where and what's actually making it through. You can't feed perfectly, you can't have your water perfect all the time, you can't do this stuff all the time. You're guaranteed you're going to lose something. Even not by washing your rocks off properly in the hopper, you're going to have some type of loss. I just hope this video sort of helps anyone starting out, anyone that's using different types of matting, anyone that's having problems possibly even setting up their matting. You got to do these little tests, and you'll get some sort of an idea of what's happening, what's going wrong, what you're doing right, and you got to experiment. And that's what this thing's all about, is experimenting. Get some, because every different type of material, every different type of creek you go into, the ground's different. The heavies are different. I've gone to many creeks where there's no black sand, but you've got these unusual rocks that are very, very heavy, but it's not black sand. And they make it difficult in that sense. I've gone places where there's a lot of clay. And clay, trying to process clay, the amount of time it takes and effort is crazy. And sometimes you may have to run your material through the high banker a few times to have that clay break down enough to actually get all the gold to release. There is a technical bullshit word that I can't think of at the moment that you can use for that, but it's pretty much what the meaning of it is, separating the gold from the ground and the dirt. But yeah, look, as I said, hope you have enjoyed. It's probably going to be a long one. For those with the interested in the treasure hunt, there'll be 3 digits put in the comments of this video at some stage. Might be in a few days. And you need those digits to work out where the pin is and the other clues in the videos. And I suppose I better give you one clue, and the clue is no longer in use. Alright, till the next time, I will see you all later.